Hey everybody, good afternoon. Sound check please. Hey RA. Welcome everyone, hope you had a good day. Sound is good, great, thank you. Hope everybody had a nice day and welcome to tonight's coaching. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll take a look at Dennis's question, which talks about, I think, the post and pre-market trading. I have a question about pre and post market trading, or maybe just talk about your observation this morning about how one stock seems to pop up after the market close, which was USO. Okay, so I noticed that guys, do you remember during the pandemic, a lot of the little stocks that were going crazy, like, a lot of them. I mean, this comes to mind. Mark was going nuts. Um, in the after hours, all the time. I mean, I don't want to say every one of them. I don't want to say every day, but they would right after the close they would pop up. Now, why right after the close? I don't know, because they gapped up every day almost, and so people in the after hours were uh, getting interested in getting in them and keeping them overnight. Now, why is it that they didn't buy them in the during the trading hours? Maybe they were. They probably were buying them, and then they just continued to buy them after the close. So USO, maybe today is the only exception because it might be topping out every single day. I mean, crazy. Every single day, the last few days. I don't know how many days, but every single day while scanning in the evening, I would notice it's up in the after hours. And I'm not talking about it being up a few cents. I'm talking dollars, like 2-3% in the after hours. So it bugged me a little bit because every day I would see it up when I scanned for the swing trading. So after the close, I scan and then I look at it and I'm like, wow. So I'm seeing it go up every day after the close. Why am I not in it? So it started to bug me, and that's why I mentioned it today. And why is it getting bought in the after hours? Because it goes up every day. As you can see, the last few days, I mean, this day it didn't go up, but barely down. Otherwise, every other day since this day, which was February 28th. Every single day, with the exception of this day, it's gone up, and it's gone up about 33% the last few days. So, so yeah, if you have a stock that gaps up, that goes up, that's going up every day, it's probably likely that it will move up in the after hours. But I don't know. That's what I noticed during the pandemic. These little stocks did the same thing. They would go up in the after hours. And I remember Darwin in the room said, we're like leaving a lot of money on the table by not buying them at the close, or before the close, and keeping them overnight, or keeping them at least into the post market, selling them into the post market. All right. So that's what I was. Oh, you've traded? Okay, cool. Yeah. Like I said, USO has done pretty well, but today is probably an exception because it looks a little toppy. In fact, it crashed initially and then recovered a bit. So I'm looking at it right now, and it certainly is not up in the after hours, but it's not down much either. It's down a little bit. So we'll see. It seems as though it's not trading. There's like 25-cent spread on it. So it's almost as though it's not trading. I don't know. It probably is, but just down. Yeah, 40 cents trade. Is that for? Yeah, 35 cents trade spread. 35-cent spread. So, all right. Um, I don't have any topics that I wanted to cover with you, but I felt like today was really interesting. We had the AQMS, which is one of my favorite gaps. It ended up getting crushed, right? But it's one of my favorite types of gaps, the one that creates a transition on the daily chart, which this one did, and it had a really nice pop. So that was the first trade today. I was on the mic when it happened. That was pretty good. And then we had a few other ones. The USWS was my best because as a climactic buy setup, pretty good. Notice when you have multiple time frame alignment, wide range bar, biggest volume, biggest bar also into the 200 on the 15. I mean, it just looked so good. And then you look at the 5, what was it? USWS. You look at the 5, it had a nice, same thing, wide range bar, narrow range bar, reversal bar. So it looked good. You look at the 2 minute, so it looked good on multiple time frames. Those are the best. It did shake out a little bit here, so it didn't go up in a straight line. It did shake out a little bit, but eventually did well. But when you have multiple time frame alignment like that, those are the high odd plays, the ones that look good on multiple time frames. So that was pretty good. I'd have to go to the website to see what I did today. I also did the just some scalps. In fact, I'm stuck in it, the KOPN in the post market, because I shorted it at the end of the day, and I forgot to cover it before the close, so I'm stuck in it. We'll see. Doesn't look good unless the market gaps down or something. Stayed really bullish. So that was a couple times. Scalp Rover also was pretty interesting. A couple times I scalped it. There was one that got me today, which was the CEI. I knew the stock is trouble, but it was looking good, and when I tried to get out of it, the bid just dropped. The bid just, dropped, and I tried again. I had 30,000 shares. It would just drop and fill me partial. So I knew it was the the good old CEI, which was tough to scalp even during the pandemic. So this one got me. Otherwise, had a pretty good day today. Is the rally attempt in the Qs dead? Yeah, let's take a look at the Qs. I was gonna look at the Qs actually. I think so. Even when it was really bullish, I mean, the pattern doesn't look good, does it? It's not like I don't know, it just didn't even look good. Even when we had the double bottom. Now, depending on what happens tomorrow, like if we do move up a little bit and double bottom on the Qs and move up, I think we will eventually fall back down. Okay. But based on the way we closed, I'm not expecting necessarily a gap up. In fact, it looks a little bit more like here when we had the double bottom, and then the next day we gapped down, or didn't gap down but sold off really hard, broke the double bottom. So it's a little bit similar. We're a bit more extended maybe now. Maybe. And not sure, but yeah, the rally doesn't look good. I got I got 200 shares of the TQQ, and I dumped them before the close. So not sure. Yeah, the Qs doesn't look good. Let's take a look at the SPY. The SPY doesn't look good either, honestly. Yeah, does not look good. It didn't retest the lows, so a little bit of relative strength compared to the Qs. Not exactly at the prior low, but still doesn't look all that good. On the SPY, the IWM I think finished flat on the day, but doesn't look good either. The interesting thing about the market is the monthly. The monthly is gonna be pretty interesting to see how, whether we trigger. It doesn't look like we're gonna trigger a buy setup anytime soon on the monthly, but you never know. and a monthly buy setup, that is. And then the SPY looks better. Looks better. But I think we'll break under the 20, sell off hard, and then snap back. So it'd be great if we actually continued lower, maybe down to here, and then snapped back. And then on the Qs, maybe down to 300. Well, we're already very close. Maybe down to here would be great. I don't know if we're gonna get there. And then snap back. But yeah. Okay, BK. I think it's, sometimes also it's hard to catch the bottom. Sometimes it's really hard to get in at the bottom. I don't know. Are you talking about, is it a 401k or is it an IRA? Because especially if it's a 401k, it's really hard to catch the bottom. Because with the 401k plans, I thought we bottomed here, and I bought, and I submitted the order at like 3 o'clock, and then between 3 to 3:30, between 3 to 4, the last hour of the day, we just exploded. So I ended up getting filled up here. So when the market rallied, I didn't benefit. Much, because I ended up getting filled at the high after a huge bar. So with 401ks, it's so hard to catch the bottom. This day I didn't submit an order, but I thought we had a bottom that I missed out on. But why did I not submit an order to buy? Because I waited until closer to the close, unlike that day, and I saw that we moved up 1,000,000%. I don't know how much. Look at this, $23 off the lows to close at the high. I wasn't gonna buy it up here. Otherwise, if I could have, I would have bought it at the bottom or shortly after. I did buy 175 shares of the TQQ because that's all I could buy in my IRA account. But then a few days ago, I sold, which was this day, and I also bought BITO the same day, and I sold that day once we broke under the hourly support. So. With 401ks, it's really hard to catch the bottom, because a lot of times the bottom is a bar like this. And so even if you try to get in even if you press the buy button at the open, or as soon as you think it bottomed, you don't get filled until the close. With the IRA accounts, you get filled instantly, but with 401k accounts, it's really hard. Okay, but I hope it works out. But like I said, even if it doesn't, maybe we're not too far from the bottom, and you're only getting in 25%, so that's not too bad. That's not too much, I should say. And maybe we're not too far from the bottom, but it's hard to tell. It's not that easy at all. For sure, it's not. Had a 403B account, and it allowed us to buy and sell. What's a 403B account? I forget. What's a I can look it up. I can Google it real quick. So 403B account. Let's see what it is. Not for profit. Is that what it is? No. Maybe. Retirement plans. Tax and offered by public schools. Okay. Yeah. Right, it's a retirement account. Got it. Oh, you did? Oh, wow. At a certain location, or which school? Oh, okay. In Silicon Valley. Got it. Interesting. Yeah, so theirs is a 403B account. Makes sense because it's a not-for-profit. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, no, the 401k plans that I manage, mine and my partners, it's terrible. Whenever I'm I read the market. I think I do a good job reading the market. I think, at least. And I can never get in at the bottom. Almost never. The only exception is if I get in while the market is dropping. Like, if I think the market has gone climactic a little bit and I just get in at the close. I'll show you an example of what I mean. But it's rare. I mean, it's really hard. Show you an example of what I mean. Let's say just 2,000 days. Let's say it's hard. It's just so hard to get in at the bottom. But here, you think, okay, well, I think we're bottoming here. Wide range bar, biggest volume, get in at the bottom. Or here, December 24th, 2018. Okay, let's get. So you have to get in the day before we bottom. So, or because, and what if we continue lower? Because sometimes we do, but when it comes to the market, we don't go totally climactic usually. So this is as good as it gets. So I have to really get in on the days like this and hope that we don't fall apart. We don't sell off more. Okay, and this happened while I was doing a mentorship in Chicago. It looked better on the SPY. I think it was into the rising 20 also on the weekly chart that day. I'm not sure where it is. Anyways, should be over one more, I think. Anyways, I think that was it. Yeah, not sure. So that's the difficulty with 401k plans. Let's see. How did you guys do today? Did you guys see the CYRN today? Oh boy. Remember what I was saying before I got off the mic? The best thing I got is CYRN breaking out on the hourly chart. And I said the biggest stop, if we were going to use the really large stop, not under this bar's low, but under the whole thing, was 850. So over this double top, let's just say over 850 by 770. Unbelievable. It went to $14 almost. Unbelievable. Oh, you played it. Wow. That's great. Oh, good. Okay. Oh, good. Yeah, yesterday OP from EFON, but that was amazing. I just didn't do it. Still had a good day, but I'm disappointed. I'm up 4K. I was up 6. Disappointed. I messed up at the end with that CEI, but it's fine. 4 is good. These days, 4 is great. In the past, it wasn't even the average. It wasn't. But these days, like I said, 4 is good. Take 4 anytime, any day. The triple BY today, yesterday's short was wow. That was money, but I didn't think to short it. So I don't feel like I never thought, oh, I missed it, because I didn't even think to short it. But yeah, that would have been a home run. That would have been a home run. Big gap up to resistance, but I just, it's not my style to go after the meme stocks or things that are going absolutely crazy like this. So I don't usually go after the stuff. So I didn't really feel like I missed it, even though, like I said, it dropped a lot and would have been a great short. But yeah, I don't usually do the stuff. I was right about the afternoon being a big nothing. It really was. The afternoon was just a big nothing today. Nothing happened other than maybe the CYRN. Other than the CYRN, I don't see anything that moved. CAG moved down a little bit. Wasn't a great setup, but notice the breakout failure. You might say, where is the base breakout? Here it is. We broke out and then came back in, based, didn't base, just one bar, reacted to the prior low and then broke down. So if you draw over it, you will see that it's a breakout failure. So if I draw over it, you'll see. So here it is. Oops, what did I just do? So check it out. Oof, hold on. Here it is. So we had the breakout, and then it's based a little bit, and then breakout failure. So that's a breakout failure, but it wasn't a tight base. So that's the other thing that I think, you know, would have worked this afternoon. Nothing like the CYRN, but other than these two, nothing really happened. I mean, pretty much the buy setup in the Qs failed, which was, I thought it was gonna fail, honestly. Deep pullback, plus the market didn't look good on the daily chart at the time. Still doesn't, of course. So it ended up failing. So this afternoon I would have been better off if I hadn't traded at all, but it is what it is. SPAC popped late afternoon. It was I didn't see it. SPAQ. Oh wow. That's amazing because of how tight the base was on the daily chart. That's truly amazing. It was a crazy low price runner over a year ago. Oh, okay, wow. Yeah, I see it. You want to see it, guys? Last year. Oh, it's not showing on this platform. On my other platform, I can see it on the monthly chart. I'm going to show you the monthly chart. So this is the monthly chart. So it was going about same thing, $10, popped to 21. I don't know how many days it took. And then, so that was a nice runner last year, looks like. You know, those SPACs all, I mean, the majority of them totally crashed, right? We rarely come across good ones or ones that are really bullish. Whereas in the past, when we had like a SPAC bubble, I feel, right? All these SPACs, a lot of them, so many of them totally, completely crashed. Especially after they merged. So we had, it was like a bubble, almost like a bubble, I feel. And then they all started crashing in February of last year. And never recovered, pretty much. Never really recovered. Yeah, that one last merged with Fisker. Okay. FSR. Okay. Interesting. FSR. Really weak. I can't say that this is an easy time that we have right now, an easy easy environment to trade, but what I can say for sure is this is an interesting time. This is definitely an interesting time, and you know, the way we end up bottoming, we'll see what ends up happening with the market. So it's a very, very interesting time in the market right now, and what's most interesting about it is seeing how it all plays out. But I think it's also an interesting time in the world. Not for sure, not in a good way for a lot of people, which is unfortunate. But you know, how all these geopolitical, oil, inflation, interest rates, how all these factors will end up playing out in the market, how they will affect the equities. So that's going to be interesting to see. And once I see that, I'm retiring. No, but I'm really curious to see how it will all play out. You have TOS for level 2. Do you recommend something different? Yeah, TOS sucks. I mean, TOS is very hard to read, for me at least. So I like to use Sterling. It's very clean, very clear. But then you have the problem of, before you take a play, you have to put it in here, and then you'd have to load it into your TOS, and then so that takes an extra step. And a lot of times, so what I do is I have E-Trade right here. E-Trade is okay, I think, but I don't like it that much. So here it is. I have them on top of each other or right above. And then I put in the symbol that I want to trade. Let's say you have a question for me on CAG. I put it in here, and if I like it, I go and I type it in again. So sometimes what I do is I type it in here and I forget to change the symbol in E-Trade, and I say, oh, CAG looks good, let's short it, and I end up shorting DD or whatever it is. I've made that mistake a million times. So it's not great, it's not a great solution, but I do that because I like the level 2 on Sterling, and I don't like it on it's harder to read, I feel, on TOS and on E-Trade. Now, other than Sterling, which is not a free platform, you'd have to buy it through a broker, which means you'd have to open an account somewhere at one of the brokers they interface with, and you can go to Sterling Tech, or I don't remember the Sterling Pro Trader. It's called the website is Sterling Trader Trading Tech. It's weird, but that's the website, I think. So you'd have to go there and see which brokers they interface with. I get it through the T3 Trading Group. That's who I get it through. So that's who I get it through. So okay, so you can, if you want to reach out to them, or if you want a free level 2 that I think is decent, I would just open an account with Schwab and use their platform, Street Smart Edge. So I think that has a pretty decent level 2. I mean, as good as I've seen, that's free. So Schwab or Sterling are the best two that I've seen, and I like Sterling a little bit more. So I'm sticking with Sterling. Oh, the best free one is Fidelity. Do you have a picture of it that you can post? Feel free. I'd like to see it. I've never ever used Fidelity. I've opened accounts with most brokers over the years, but never with Fidelity. So I don't know what it looks like. Really, that's kind of cool if it's free. I mean, I'd like to check it out. So fidelity.com. What's the name of the platform? Or do they only have one? Do they only have one platform, or what's the name of the platform? I'm going on their website. Active Trader Pro. Got it. So okay, so open an account, or is this the website? Am I on the right website? I might open an account just to see what it looks like. But yeah, if you have a picture, take a picture of the level 2 and post it if you can, and then just upload it to the room just so we see it. Any of you, the ones that have it. Okay, it will be interesting. I'll check it out. Has great execution also. Interesting. I have never tried them out. Ever. Maybe I should. Maybe I should. I don't know. Really, maybe I should. Yeah. Okay, so I guess Fidelity might have a good one. I know that Schwab does, and Sterling is probably the best. No problems with Active Trader Pro. Okay. If you were to stick to only one broker, what would my best option be? For what I do, E-Trade. For most people, probably, if we're talking about free platforms, probably Thinkorswim or Ameritrade. A lot of people like that, but for me it didn't work because they would hang my orders. They would hold my orders after I submitted them. They wouldn't fill me. Market. It would take, I'd be looking at the order and it would be just sitting there, open order at market. And then as soon as the price dropped, that's when I got filled. And it happened way too many times, way too often that I just decided not to close the account, honestly. I couldn't make money. So for me, I know they manipulated my orders. I know for a fact they did. So for me, that didn't work. But for most people, probably because I traded big size at the time, Probably. Um, but for most people it seems to work pretty good. So that's as a free platform. As far as a best platform that I've ever tried and traded on is, I would say, Sterling. Execution is lightning fast. It's very easy. You can set up hotkeys however way you want, any hotkey you want. So I would say Sterling, and then I'd go with T3 as a broker. Let's see. No level 2 on ATP. What's ATP? As far as that, what's ATP? I forget. Probably something I should know. Oh, active got it. Okay, no problem. No level 2. You guys been telling me that it's a good level 2. You guys are saying that it's a good level 2. Okay, ATP does have a level. All right. Yeah, I've tried eSignal before. I've never tried their level 2 to see if it's good, but I've tried their charts. And what was I gonna say? And their charts are good, but I like I like this platform's charts better, Realtic. So I dumped eSignal. I had it for a couple months, and I canceled the subscription. It wasn't cheap. It's like, I don't know how much it is these days, but it wasn't cheap at the time. So I had it for a couple months, 2-3 months maybe, and then I canceled it because I like these charts better. I felt like I could. So this is how I could tell that these charts were better. Really, I couldn't tell that these charts are better until I had, until I started scanning. And when I'm scanning, the charts are this big, literally this big. They're very small. So when I made the charts really small for scanning, that's when I noticed that the charts on eSignal were no longer very clear. They weren't very crisp. So on this platform, they stayed crisp no matter what the size was, even if I could still read it, even if it's this big, almost. So that's when I decided, oh wow, this is much cleaner, much clearer, I should say, and I decided to stick with Realtic. But eSignal has all the bells and whistles too. Okay, I got the images. Yeah, Schwab I'm familiar with. Schwab I like. Let's take a look at Active Trader. Okay. It still doesn't look as good as this to me. This looks better than, it just looks, the font stands out. Maybe you can edit the font size on the Active Trader. But Active Trader, ATP, Active Trader Pro. So I'll check it out. I'll open an account, and hopefully I can get it without having to fund it. Hopefully, but I don't mind funding it. I just don't want to trade it unless, because then it's another 1099 to deal with at the end of the year. Oh, okay. So I can edit the pages. I'll check it out. I mean, for sure. Based on what you guys are saying, it looks like it's totally worth checking out. I'm surprised I've never actually checked it out before. And like I said, I've opened accounts at so many different brokers. eSignal, yeah, I'm familiar with eSignal. I like their charts, but when I made them small, they didn't. They weren't as clear at all compared to the E-Trade charts. You see, they're not as clean. This is the picture that who posted that? John. No, was it John? No, hold on. Yeah, John posted it. So these are the eSignal charts. That's pretty much about the same size as so here's, let's say this is what, the IWM. Here's the IWM, and we'll make them the same size. Hold on, let me just see if I can keep it on top. Okay, I'm keeping it on top. So, all right. So this is about, let's keep them about the same size as the Realtic. Can drag it. So hold on just one sec. So here, think about the box. Ignore the outline. So we're just gonna kind of just make them the same size. So that's where the volume is, basically. Ignore the margins. So just match this with that. So I'm trying to match them. So here's, hold on just one sec. So trying to basically put them right next to each other. And which chart is, what time frame is this? What time frame? I can't tell really. 5 minutes. So here's the IWM 5 minute. Which chart looks cleaner to you? And maybe I need to make it smaller this way. Which chart looks cleaner to you? One on the left, one on the right. So, and I'll keep this. It's hard to compare, but I'm trying to do the best. Oh, the 15. All right. Which chart looks cleaner? The one on the right or the one on the left? They're about the same size. If you just think about this box, ignoring the margins, they're about the same size. That's the box that I'm telling you to look at. Which chart looks cleaner? The one on the right looks much cleaner than the one on the left, to me at least, for the way I look at charts. So when I started scanning on thumbnail charts during the day, that's when I realized, wait a second, I can read these charts much easier than I could these charts. So they're not as sharp or crisp or whatever word you want to say. Clear, clean. I don't know what word to describe. So to me, this is cleaner. This is cleaner. And this is also an image, so maybe that degrades the quality a little bit, as opposed to this being the platform and not a picture of it. But I can take a picture of it. It shouldn't really have much of a, it shouldn't make much of a difference. We're not talking about, here's a picture of this chart. Hold on, oops. So it's not gonna make much of a difference, and to me, I can tell you with absolute certainty that this chart on the right is much cleaner than the one on the left. Yeah? You mean degrading the quality? Well, here's a picture. That's a picture too. I just took a picture as well. That's a picture right here. So this is cleaner than this. To me, it's cleaner, but but again, I was always used to Realtek. Reason why I was gonna do eSignal as opposed to Realtek is for a number of reasons. One is I can link the intervals. With Realtek, you can't have tabs at the bottom, like let's say you have a bunch of charts like this, and let's say that's the IWM or the market charts. You want to go to the next tab maybe and look at oil charts. You click on the next tab, and then boom, it shows you all the. So Realtek doesn't have tabs, and it's much more expensive than eSignal. I think at least the Pro version is much more expensive. So that's why I was trying to switch to eSignal, but I couldn't really get it to work. So yeah, okay. I don't like the toss charts, and I know Ifan and. Yeah, toss charts to me are to be tossed. I mean, they're just, especially these charts, Evan. I mean, how do you read stuff like this when the volume is overlapping with price? How do you read it? I couldn't read it if my life depended on it. I'm serious. How do you read something like this? I can't read it. I don't know whether this is bullish or bearish. When you let volume overlap with price. So I just cannot read stuff like this at all. And I know that Ifan and James use toss charts, and it's free. I'd love to use it too, because I'm paying several $1,000s in a year for whatever it is for Realtek. But yeah, I don't like them. I have used IB. I looked at IB. They're not bad. Here's IB charts. If you want to look at IB charts, they're not bad. Are they as clean as Realtek charts? I don't think so, but they're not bad, honestly. That's IB, isn't it? So yeah, not bad at all. So as you can see, I am really, really picky when it comes to my charts, because if I cannot read the chart right away and easily and quickly, then that's gonna cost me money. It's not just gonna cost me money. I'm not gonna feel confident. I'm gonna lose my confidence basically in the data that I'm reading, in the charts that I'm looking at. You know why I'm telling you this? I know that from experience. Whenever my, let's say, Realtek crashed and I had to use an alternate platform, some substitute platform, I just didn't feel the confidence anymore when I traded, because I was relying on charts that I couldn't quite read that well. So I decided, wait a second, I can try and save a few $1,000s a year by switching to another platform, but it will probably cost me tens of thousands of dollars by compromising on the quality of the chart. So that's why since 2011, I think, maybe even before 2009, I've been using this platform, and it's cost me, tens of thousands over the years, but it is what it is. DAS Pro Trader, I've heard it is good. I've never used DAS either, or I've used it for like a short period of time, or I downloaded it, played with it a little bit, and then I never really seriously looked into it. So which one is this, John? No, hold on, there's a couple pictures. Jamil, you posted something. What platform is this? This lesson turned about a discussion of platforms. That's pretty clean. I would make the green a little bit brighter, personally. Make it stand out, because even when it's, this is a brighter green. See how bright it is? Stands out better to me. So that's what I would do. But which platform is this? That's not bad. Those charts are nice. TC2000. Oh yeah, TC2000 is pretty good too. I have TC2000 as well, but not as good as Realtek. Here's Realtek. That's cleaner. I think Realtek is to me, is almost the same as this platform, which is what? TradingView. So TradingView charts and Realtek charts are the same. So those are the cleanest charts I've ever seen. TradingView and Realtek. Well, I don't think this is any different than this platform in terms of the quality and the clarity and the whatever. It's basically the same. I don't see the difference. It's the same. To me, it's the same. Oh yeah, the tools, yeah, but you know what the limitation is? The most you can have is eight charts. That sucks. How good is that? So in terms of the quality of the charts are great, it's great, but in terms of, you can only have 8. Well, that's terrible. Yeah, you can have tabs, sure. Yeah, but it's not, 8 is just not enough. It's just not enough at all. For most people, at least, myself included. TC2000 again is good, but not as clean and clear, to me at least, as is this TC2000. Oof, this is that degraded the picture, because it's I can't read that at all. But yeah, I've used TC2000 also. It's pretty good for charting, but again, I'm just not going to compromise at all. Because it wouldn't make sense for me to try and save a few $1,000s a year and give it all and lose 10 or 20 as a result of not having the best charts. It just wouldn't make sense for me to compromise. Yeah. You got 9 on a screen? Okay. You got 9 charts, no hotkeys. That's the drawback for me. Which one? No hotkeys. Farhan, which one doesn't have hotkeys? Oh, Fidelity doesn't have hotkeys. Wow. Yeah. Whew. Yeah, then it wouldn't work. Yeah, it wouldn't work. But I could use maybe the level 2, and if it's good, ditch Sterling. If it's really good, I can just let Sterling go because Sterling is expensive. Lightspeed, I think, is pretty good too. I've looked at the platform. I've never used it, traded on it, but I've looked at the platform before. The only thing I didn't like about Lightspeed is the hotkeys. It was very limited, and they had hot buttons. So hot buttons meaning, you'd create. I don't know. There's hot buttons on this platform too, but I don't use them. So these buttons, see them, you can specify what each button is, so you have to click on it, buy 500 or buy short, but by the time you get the cursor to that button, it's it takes a minute or two, it takes a couple seconds. It's much easier to trade with the keyboard rather than with a point and click system with the mouse. So with the Lightspeed, at the time when I checked it out, I've never traded on the platform, but I did check it out. It was mostly good for hot buttons, not hotkeys. But they might have changed it by now. That was over 10 years or about 10 years ago or so. So yeah, so I if it's hot buttons are not as good as hotkeys or speed keys as they're called on some platforms. Okay. Yes, no, definitely speed keys are better, faster. And then another sector that totally bottomed are the solar stocks. Totally bottomed. So that's a sector to look for buying opportunities in. For sure, to me, be willing to bet you whatever you wanted. Totally bottomed. SEDG looks, is the leader. But it's late. It was hard. They had the 1, 2, 3, but what can I say? I didn't do it on all of them. Nova, I remember also 1, 2, 3. Gapped up, I guess. Did a buy setup a few days ago. Just 2 days ago, actually. Yesterday. Did a buy setup. And then RUN, buy setup. Didn't play them, but this sector would be good to get in. If we can find a way in now that it's late. SPWR would have been a good short today. A good long, as a swing, that is. It's not the strongest, but yeah, solar stocks bottomed, and Tesla is probably going to benefit. Should be benefiting from the oil price. I'm surprised it hasn't even gone up. I'm really a little bit surprised. Now the chart doesn't look good for it to go for the stock to go up, to rally, but I'm just surprised that it didn't get bought as oil, price of gasoline went way up. So interesting. Anyways, any questions for me? Sorry, this turned out to be a discussion about platforms more than anything else. TAN, I don't know what that is. What's TAN? Solar ETF, got it. Solar ETF, got it. Evan, my question was literally going to be, what do I think? I think it bottomed, yeah. For day trading, how many time frames do you depend on? So for day trading, this is the platform. I have a different platform actually. These charts are the best to me. It's called Orbis. It's a simulator. I don't use it for trading. I just use it for charting. But it limits my charts to 20. So I can't have it as my primary, or I can't have it for thumbnail charts, just for multiple time frames. So this is what I do. This is what I use. I have the 1 minute chart, trying to get it to the here it is. 1 minute, 2 minute, but I can't drag it down. You have to believe me, this is a 2 minute time frame. So I have the 1 minute, the 2 minute, the 5, the 15, the hourly, hold on just a second, hourly, the big chart, and the daily, which is the biggest. Now those are the primary time frames that I use for day trading, okay? And as you can see, they are on the same line. they're exactly on the same line. This way I can you can, our eyes are oval shaped, so it's easy to look left to right or right to left as opposed to up and down. So I recommend when you're looking at charts to put them all on a row, on the same row, on the same line, so that you can look at them left to right or right to left, however way you want. But the other thing to do is to make sure that when you load up a chart, like when I type in, whatever it is, Intel, then the first chart that comes up in front of my face is the big time, is the hourly, the daily, the hourly, and the smaller time frames are far from me. This way, when I look at a chart, the first thing that comes up are the big time frames. So I recommend you do the same. If the 1 minute or the 2 minute is what is directly in front of your face, you probably want to move it away and have the big time frames to be in front of your face when you first load up the chart. All the charts are linked on this platform, at least linked to this level 2, right? So when I load up a chart, first thing that comes up is in front of my face is the daily and the hourly. If the daily is not good, I don't even look at the intraday. Rarely do I look at the intraday unless it's good. But if the daily is good, then I look at the intraday, because there's no reason to look at the detail, which is what the intraday charts are, is the detail. No reason to look at the detail if you're not even interested in the larger picture. Does that make sense? So that's what I recommend. And then for relative strength, relative weakness analysis, right below the multiple time frames of whatever stock you're looking at, I have also the charts of the market on the same time frames. Notice that's the gray chart at the bottom, that's the Qs. And then the 2 minute, you see what I mean? 5 minute matches up, lines up with the 5 minute of the whatever chart I'm looking at. This way, the 15, the hourly, see it at the bottom there. So this way I can immediately compare the stock that I'm looking at to the market to see if it has anything special about it, like relative strength, relative weakness compared to the market. But I can also look at I can get good timing that way. The timing this way is, I can try to time my trades with the market. Does that make sense? So, and I recommend you do the same, which is to have the multiple time frames be on the same line, and then under those time frames to have the market charts open. A lot of people say, no, I want to have the, so they have, let's say these are the multiple time frames of the stock that they're looking at, and then they put the market over here on this other platform. Or it's really hard to compare the charts up here to the charts over here, but it's much easier if they're on top of each other, and you have the 1 minute right here for the stock and the market right below it, the 2 minute for the stock and the market right below it. Does that make sense? The 5 minute, the 15, the hourly, and the daily. The daily I don't always have open for the Qs. I don't, because I don't need to be constantly staring at the daily chart of the Qs. I look at it every morning, and then I know what it looks like, so I don't want to waste space, basically, right? But the other time frames, hourly, 15, 5, 2, and 1, I always have the chart of the Qs open. All right, does that make sense, Roger? Should. All right, good. Okay, Rob, have a good night. Just saw your comment there. Okay, Lee, did you have a question? Let me see. Does anyone use black box stocks filter? I'm not sure what that is. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. But if anybody does, feel free to chime in. Let me know if any questions, because I'm just gonna end the session. Are you looking for a pattern on the daily chart or just a gap? I mean, if I see a pattern, sure. Most of the time just a gap. But if I see a pattern, yeah, that works too. If I see a breakout, let's say, yesterday HAL was breaking out. Okay, and I see an intraday pattern. As long as there's something interesting about the daily, then I would be okay taking a play on the, let's say, the HAL setup long, and I see that the daily is also looking good, breaking out, then I would take it. Then I wouldn't, it wouldn't be an issue. But if the daily on HAL looked like this, and nothing special, or was just basing, and then it's set up long on the intraday, then I wouldn't do the intraday play. I wouldn't take the intraday play. Okay? But if there's a breakout, breakdowns, some failure pattern, gap, most of the time gaps, then that's when I will, then I can take the intraday play, whatever it is. What scanner do I use? I don't really use a scanner. I mean, I don't. I just have thumbnail charts of the gaps, and then I have them on thumbnail charts like this. This is not a small chart. And then I just, let's pretend it's like this. And a bunch of them, I have 100 of them open, and I just eyeball them. I mean, I just scan manually. Oh, the gaps list. Yeah, for the gaps list, I have a scanner, but it's no longer available to the public, and it's called, it was built for Pristine long time ago, but it's basically the same thing as ScanZ. It's the same thing as ScanZ. So that's what I have for scanning for gaps. Now, maybe better than ScanZ would be Trade Ideas. Might be even better than ScanZ. They're not free, but that might be even better. Now, if you're part of the room, I wouldn't waste your time or money scanning for gaps. I wouldn't. I would just, I would use the gaps list that I use, and the way it's put together is James, GB, and myself have a shared sheet, Google Sheet, and we just combine the list, all our gaps lists, and I work on it and I finalize it, and that's what I add to the room every day. So yeah, I wouldn't even. Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, John. I don't know that I can retire from this business because it's just hard to retire from. I enjoy it too much to retire from it. And then if I let's say retire from it and stay at home, I mean, what would I do? I mean, and I'm not the type that just likes to be on the run all the time, on the road all the time. So I don't like traveling all that much. So I don't know. Yeah, so that's a good point. You'll never retire. That's good, because I think if you do, you'll just get bored. I mean, your brain will stop working, and your mental capacity will start to decline. Probably that's what happens to old people that retire. How many times have you heard of somebody that died just shortly after they retired? A month later, 6 months later, 2 weeks later. Look at the richest people in the world. They never retire. Look at Warren Buffett. How old is he? 90? I mean, maybe even older. How old is Warren Buffett? 91. I mean, give me a break. And the guy still works and whatever. So, and he's worth over $100 billion. And he's donated over 50 billion already. So, my point is, I think, unless you have something else that you really want to do, like unless you had a dream that you wanted, like something that you're passionate about, and by working or by being a trader you couldn't have that fulfilled, then I think yes, then retiring, if you financially don't need it, would make all the sense in the world to me. Does that make sense? If one didn't need the money and they had something they wanted to do that they were passionate about, then it would make sense. But if you're passionate about your job and that's what you would rather be doing, then I don't think it doesn't make sense for me to retire, or retirement doesn't really make much sense. Does that make sense? I did read a bit about how retire, how to retire. And the one thing that kept coming up was, you have to know what you're gonna retire to, not from. Everybody knows what they're gonna retire from, but what are you gonna retire to? Meaning, what are you gonna do? Make sure that you have a plan. And when I was younger and I was thinking about retiring early, I was thinking, oh, I'll just travel. And then I did some traveling and I realized, and I've always, when I was on the road or traveling, I always thought, oh, I can't wait to get home. Not that I wasn't, not that seeing the world and experiencing things wasn't good, was nice, but I like home more than anything. So anyways, I can cover, looks like the COPN here. All right, good. Hold on one sec. Even though it'll probably gap down tomorrow, but I have a rule about not keeping anything that I don't wanna, that I didn't intend to hold overnight. So KOPN, the offer just dropped to 269. Actually, I got it at 268. So I'm gonna go ahead and cover it, even though it probably will gap down a little bit or something. But as I said, it's not for me. I have a rule about not keeping anything overnight unless I meant to keep it. Please check the number of shares. Okay. Cancel this order right here. So I'm gonna cover it. I already covered 6,000 out of the 8 that I had short, but it's the right thing to do, and that's me. I just covered 8, 2,000 at a time. See it? Those are my shares. 2 at 69. Because the offer was at 76 when I first came on the mic. So, and you'll see, it'll probably come in tomorrow a little bit, but it's just, rules are rules. And the rule is, if I didn't mean to keep something overnight, I shouldn't, and I got stuck in it, I should do my best to get out of it in the post market and not gamble, not, always, because we all like, I think, to some extent, the gambling mentality a little bit, because there's a little bit of excitement about it, or let's see what ends up happening. There's that suspense or whatever you want to call it. And to me, you have to always watch out for that. If it comes up in your trading, always reject it. Always say, no, I'm not interested in that feeling, in that, because sometimes I feel like, oh, let me just get in and see what ends up happening. It's gonna be fun or whatever. But we're not interested in fun. We're not interested in gambling, right? At least we shouldn't be. So, all right, last couple of questions, and then I'll end the broadcast. How can we forecast larger moves off the weekly, monthly, like looking for patterns with room to go on larger time frames, for example? Yeah, that's it. You just look for moves off the larger time frame. I do recommend taking the TPM class, and if you've taken it, then also take the Strategic Swing Trader course, because those will show you how to use the larger time frames to for trading. So if you go to t3live.pristineeducation, you'll see we have the TPM there, this one actually. So I highly recommend taking that class, but then I also recommend taking a class that I put together, and it's called, I don't know where it is, here it is. It's called the Strategic Swing Trader course, and it again teaches you how to look, what to look for. So premium education, and it's called, oh, there it is. It's this one. And let's see what T3 sells it for. I don't know where. Check out now. Oh, $295. Okay, so I recommend taking that class, but it's the same as day trading. except on the larger time frames, the daily, the daily, the weekly, and the monthly. Okay, Lee, instead of looking through hundreds of charts, wouldn't it save you time to have filters that show stocks that are breaking out on volume? No, it wouldn't, because I've tried that, and they always you always end up you always the scanner always spits out stuff that's garbage, that's just not good enough, or that's too late. So, and then you have to go through a list of things that the scanner's putting out one by one. By the time you finish going through that, it's like, it takes time. So it's much easier for me visually to just look at the charts and just visually see if something jumps out at me. It's much, much easier. And then to, if you were to program the scanner, you have to also, like, are you going to be able to program it to look for the multiple how are you going to program multiple time frames? How are you going to find things that look good on multiple time frames, that have multiple time frame alignment, that have a good daily? So you might be able to program the chart to the scanner to look for let's say 2-minute breakouts, 5-minute breakouts, but what it will give you, they might be good. Most of the time they're not good, even on the 2 or whatever time frame you picked. Even on that one time frame that you picked, they're usually not very good. But even if they were good on that 2-minute time frame, they're not going to have a good daily. They're not going to have good good across the multiple time frames. So it's just, I found it to be a total waste of time. Is this trading view correct? A screener. Let's see. So what is it? Yeah, I'm not familiar with their screener. I've never used their screener at all. But it looks like it's a, so you can filter stuff maybe. I've never used it, so I'm not familiar with it. I'd have to spend time before I can on it and checking it out before I don't know what you're asking actually. Let's see. I can need clean charts too. How do you get Realtic? Yeah, you have. That's what I did. I opened a Lightspeed account and I asked them for Realtic. That's what I did. But I think if you tell them you're not gonna be trading the account, please don't mention my name, by the way. But if you tell them you're not gonna be trading the account, they probably will not open an account for you. So just tell, okay? So just don't say that. Just tell them you're interested in opening an account and using Realtic, and you have to fund it. So I have $10,000 in that account, and you don't have to have $10,000, but I was told that they really close accounts that are below $10,000. They're not worth their time. So I try to keep about 10. I don't know how much. It's loading up. There it is. I have about 10,700 right now. So it's dead money. I mean, it's just sitting there. It pays for the monthly fee, and that's it. Okay. Let's see. All right, guys. Hope it was different today. We didn't talk charts so much, but it's good. We talked about other things that have to do with trading too. So it's good. It's good. All right, everybody. Have a nice evening. I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one. Take care.